There are some seasons in life that don't come with explanations, no warning, no roadmap. Just a storm that hits your soul with full force and leaves you asking, asterisk, why? Asterisk, you sit in the ashes of disappointment, holding the shattered pieces of something you thought God was building. You're trying to make sense of it, replaying moments, analyzing conversations, wondering what you missed. But let me tell you something, there are times when heaven goes quiet, when answers don't fall from the sky, and your prayers seem to bounce off the walls. That's when you need to understand this truth. Not all pain comes with an explanation, because some things belong only to God. You won't always understand why you were overlooked, why they walked away, why the job fell through, why the child you prayed for never came, why sickness entered a body you believed would be healed. And if you're not careful, you'll waste your worship chasing answers instead of clinging to the one who still holds your future. Faith doesn't mean you always get to know. Faith means you trust Him even when you don't. There is something about trusting through confusion, something about worshiping while wounded, that draws heaven close. When you raise your hands with tears in your eyes and still say, I believe you, you touch the heart of God in a way explanation never could. Because understanding might comfort your mind, but trust transforms your spirit. You may never know the reason behind the pain in this life. But if you can hold on, if you can resist the urge to quit, if you can silence the questions long enough to hear the whisper of grace, you'll realize that survival was the victory. Stop trying to solve what only God can explain. Some things are happening for reasons beyond what your heart can handle right now. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. You're not being abandoned. You're being aligned. He's positioning you for something greater, something deeper. But that level of greatness requires a kind of trust that doesn't beg for reasons, but stands on the rock, even when the winds blow and the earth shakes. So, if life has hit you in a way that doesn't make sense, take courage, lift your eyes. Your tears are not unnoticed. Your confusion is not ignored. God is still in control. He knows what He's doing. And even if you never get the explanation, you can walk in the confidence that the one who allowed it has the power to redeem it. He hasn't left you. He hasn't failed you. He's just writing a chapter you haven't read yet. Keep walking. Keep trusting. And remember, some things only God knows why. When life is clear, when everything is flowing, when the pieces fall into place, it's easy to say, God, I trust you. It's easy to sing when the sun is shining, but real faith isn't proven in clarity. Real faith shows up when the path is dark, when the answers are silent, when you don't know what tomorrow holds, and yet you take a step anyway. It's in those shadowy seasons that faith is no longer a concept. It becomes your lifeline. There comes a time when you have to walk not by what you see, but by what you know deep in your spirit. And sometimes all you know is that God is good, even if life doesn't feel like it. Sometimes all you've got left is a whisper of hope, a memory of a promise, a single verse that holds you together while everything around you falls apart. That's faith, not pretty faith, not polished faith, but raw, rugged, real faith, the kind that clings when there's nothing left to hold on to but Him. Faith has to learn how to stand in the hallway, waiting for the door to open. Faith has to learn how to stand on the water, even when the waves are crashing. You might not hear Him, you might not feel Him, but He's there. Just because you're confused doesn't mean He's not in control. Just because you're frustrated doesn't mean He's not still faithful. And just because you're tired doesn't mean you're not still chosen. You may be facing a silence that's louder than the worst scream. You may be in a place where your prayers feel like they hit the ceiling and fall back into your lap. But don't let silence make you stop believing. Don't let uncertainty make you settle. You were not built for comfort. You were built for the climb. And the climb requires trust. The climb demands that you believe before you see, speak before you feel, praise before you understand. God doesn't always give us the plan. Sometimes He only gives us His presence, and that has to be enough. Because if you can trust Him when you don't know, if you can walk when the path isn't lit, if you can keep your heart open when life shuts doors, then you've got a faith that moves mountains, a faith that scares hell, a faith that pleases heaven. So don't let the lack of clarity kill your conviction. Don't let the silence shake your stand. You don't have to know the whole picture to walk in obedience. You don't need the entire blueprint to take the first step. All you need is faith, and not the kind that feels good, but the kind that endures. Because when all is said and done, it's not clarity that carries you through the storm. It's faith that stands when nothing else can. There are moments in life when you feel like the bottom has fallen out, when everything you built comes crashing down, when the people you trusted walk away, and the dreams you carried in your heart start slipping through your fingers. And in that moment, when you're on your knees with nothing left but broken pieces, it feels like it's over. But hear this, brokenness is not the end. It's not a tomb. It's a transformation. You see, what looks like destruction to you is often construction to God. You may feel like you've been crushed, but crushing is what brings out the oil. Crushing is what releases the power. You're not broken to be discarded. You're broken to be rebuilt stronger. What the enemy tried to use to break you, God is going to use to bless you. The pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to prepare you. Don't let the broken place make you believe it's the final place. Just because it hurts now doesn't mean it's over. Just because it didn't go your way doesn't mean it won't work in your favor. Sometimes the greatest growth happens in the ground you never wanted to be planted in. Sometimes the greatest strength is developed in the places where you were forced to crawl when you used to run. You have to understand, even in your brokenness, you're still in God's hands. And if you're in His hands, that means purpose still surrounds you. That means hope is not lost. That means you may be down, but you're not out. You may be weeping, but joy is coming. You may feel weak, but grace is carrying you, because broken doesn't mean barren. Broken doesn't mean useless. Broken means the process has begun. Every scar on your soul is evidence that you survived something the enemy thought would take you out. And instead of hiding the scars, you need to wear them as a testimony that you've been through the fire and didn't get burned. You walked through the storm and didn't drown. The crack in your heart is where God's light shines through the brightest. So don't count yourself out in the dark. Don't believe the lie that because something shattered, it's the end of your story. In God's kingdom, endings are just beginnings in disguise. The pieces you're holding may look like a mess, but in His hands they become a masterpiece. Let Him take the fragments. Let Him mold the pain. Let Him rewrite the part of your life that feels ruined. Because what broke you didn't bury you. And if you're still breathing, you're still becoming. The power of your future is greater than the pain of your past. And in due time, you'll see what God was doing all along, building something beautiful out of what you thought was broken beyond repair. There's a reason you don't see it all right now. There's a reason you don't understand why it had to happen that way, why the doors closed, why the people left, why the pain came, why the season shifted so suddenly. Because while you're standing in the middle of confusion, while you're staring at what was lost, God is watching what's ahead, You're stuck in the moment, but He's already in your future. You're weeping over what broke, but He's working on what's being built. God doesn't consult your feelings when He's fulfilling His purpose. He doesn't always give you a preview of the next chapter when He closes a door. Sometimes He allows the breaking without explaining the blessing. You may be wondering why you're going through what you're going through, but what you don't see is the trap He just let you miss, the heartbreak He protected you from, the opportunity He's preparing that you're not quite ready for yet. He's God and He sees what you cannot. You may think the delay is denial, but it's actually divine redirection. What looks like rejection to you might be protection from something that was never meant to bless your life. Sometimes God lets things fall apart so He can put you back together with a greater glory. You're too focused on the puzzle piece, but He's holding the full picture. And if you trust Him, He will turn what was bitter into something beautiful. You don't have to see the whole staircase to take the next step. You don't have to understand the full reason to trust His plan. He's been working it out behind the scenes. The doors that didn't open, the people who didn't stay, the prayers that weren't answered the way you hoped. They were not failures. They were part of a bigger strategy. And when you realize He's not just the God of what you see, but the God of what you don't see, you can rest in knowing that He's already provided the answer before you ever ask the question. He's watching your back when you don't even know you're in danger. He's aligning resources in places you've never even been. He's causing rooms to be prepared with your name on them while you're still cleaning up the ashes from what you lost. Trust isn't just believing in what He did. Trust is believing in what He's doing, even when it's invisible. So don't let what you can't see keep you from believing in what God is doing. Don't let what you don't understand make you doubt who He is. His silence isn't absence. His delay isn't denial. His mystery is not a mistake. He's moving. He's orchestrating. He's aligning every detail. You don't see it yet, but He sees all of it And when the time is right, He'll reveal what He was doing all along, because He sees what you cannot. Sometimes the pain you're running from is the very thing that's pushing you into purpose. What feels like it's killing you is actually cultivating you. There's a divine strategy buried in the suffering, but the enemy wants you to quit before you see it. He wants you to tap out in the middle of the process, so you never walk into the promise. But let me tell you something. Pain is not pointless. It's a signal, it's a tool, it's a doorway, and if you can endure it, if you can worship through it, if you can stay faithful while it hurts, then what crushed you will become what crowns you. Purpose isn't birthed in the palace. It's birthed in the pit. It's birthed in the tears nobody saw you cry. It's birthed in the nights you were wide awake, asking God if He still remembered your name. It's forged in the furnace of frustration when it feels like everything is falling apart, and yet something inside of you says, don't give up. That's purpose stirring. That's destiny being born, but make no mistake, purpose costs **, and part of the price is pain. Every time you felt overlooked, misunderstood, underestimated, it was shaping you. Every betrayal, every closed door, every disappointment, it wasn't the end. It was the chiseling of your character. It was heaven's preparation for something you weren't ready for yet. You don't get anointing without agony. You don't step into destiny without a detour. Pain has a way of stripping you down to who you really are, showing you what matters, and revealing who God really is. You've been looking at the pain as punishment, but it's really preparation. You thought it meant God left you, but it's the evidence that He's working. Because He only breaks what He intends to build. He only prunes what He intends to grow. He only presses what He intends to pour. And what you thought was the end of you was the beginning of something greater through you. Purpose will demand that you go through seasons where you're isolated, rejected, and broken. But those are the moments that teach you how to trust God with no crowd, how to hear His voice with no applause, how to stand in truth with no validation. And when you come out of that season, you come out with power, you come out with perspective, you come out with a fire that hell can't put out. So stop running from the pain, stop despising the process, embrace it, knowing that every tear, every scar, every ache is aligning you with the very thing you were born for. Because on the other side of the pain is power. On the other side of the pressure is purpose. And if you let Him, God will take the worst thing that ever happened to you and use it to birth the best version of you. Your pain is not in vain. It's paving the way for your purpose. There is a time and a season for everything under heaven, but sometimes it feels like the season we're in makes no sense. We cry out, we beg for answers, we try to force understanding where God has planted mystery. We ask, asterisk, why now? Asterisk, asterisk, why me? Asterisk, asterisk, why this? Asterisk, and yet the heavens stay quiet. But understand this, divine timing is never rushed, and revelation doesn't always come in real time. Sometimes it comes in asterisk God's asterisk time. What you don't understand today will make perfect sense tomorrow. You're staring at puzzle pieces right now, trying to make something beautiful out of something that looks broken. But God isn't done yet. He doesn't show you the whole picture because He's still painting. And in His timing, He will reveal why it had to be that way, why they had to leave, why the door had to close, why the waiting was necessary. Because nothing He allows is wasted, not even your confusion. The problem with many of us is we want revelation without patience. We want answers without endurance, but growth doesn't come without waiting. Power doesn't come without pressure. And revelation doesn't come without the willingness to be still. It's in the waiting where strength is renewed. It's in the silence where purpose is whispered. It's in the delay where your spirit matures. The longer the wait, the greater the weight of what's coming. You see, divine timing doesn't operate on your schedule. What feels like a delay to you is a setup to heaven. What looks like a detour is really divine direction. You may think you missed your moment, but God hasn't missed a single second. He's preparing people, opening rooms, positioning circumstances, because when it's your time, no demon in hell, no mistake from your past, no betrayal from your circle can stop what God has ordained. And when the time is right, the pain will make sense, the tears will have meaning, the setbacks will turn into setups. You'll look back on what broke you and see that it built you. You'll understand that if it had come sooner, you wouldn't have been ready. If they hadn't walked away, you would have settled for less. If the door hadn't closed, you would have missed the one he truly opened. Asterisk, now you see asterisk, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't failure, it was formation. So hold on, even when you don't have all the answers. Walk in obedience, even when it doesn't make sense. Praise Him, even when it hurts, because your why may not be answered right now, but the who is always with you. He's never early, He's never late. He's always right on time. And when the divine clock strikes, when the pieces align, when the fullness of time arrives, you'll see what God was doing all along. It will not only make sense, it will make you stronger, wiser, and ready for what He always had waiting for you.